Well, let's talk skills. Here you have your basic level 1 manhood starter pack. Take it in. We have a tomahawk and a saw, tinderbox with a candle, pocket bellows, some fat wood, some touchwood, auger, basic belt knife, 2 flint and steel strikers just to show you that they come in different shapes and sizes, a piece of flint, ferro rod, a lighter, extra flints for the lighter, char cloth, jute twine, and a magnifying glass. Your expansion pack, a shovel and machete. With these tools, you should be able to build fortifications, shelters, furniture, all sorts of things. Let's take off and go find the stuff.
So that's kind of a windfall, and that's cheating. So we'll just remember that's there and say I have all the firewood I need. Cruising around on this here cargo bike. I could pick up and take as much of that trimmings as I want, or take all the finger wood I need out of there, what have you. I could use that resources absolutely all day. I could use that for days. That's days of firewood in an emergency situation, just sitting there on nobody's land. Trees like these can be one heck of a good resource. This is a pine sap bearing evergreen tree. Sure you guys can see that sap dripping down there. So that's going to be the indicator, a good indicator of what you're looking for. And you're going to get it in these here broken branches right here off the base of the tree. I bet you that if we cut into this right here, or any of these broken tree branches here that are nearby, and these branches have sealed themselves off with that resin there, and that is some highly flammable stuff. That's the tree resins that are in your fat wood, and this looks all pretty fresh. Somebody cut this poor tree up recently. So I think instead of harming this poor tree any more than it's already been, we're just going to collect the resin dripping out of the tree here and let this poor girl heal. Because that ain't nice. That's unfortunate. I don't know how well you can see that I got a little bit of that resin in there, just kind of in this piece of trash that I found nearby on this garbage can. And I've got a little bit of that resin here on this stick, and we're going to show you how flammable that is. But I want you to know that it's just as flammable as this stuff is just as sticky as this stuff is just as runny as it is when it's hot. This stuff is like napalm. You want to be real careful with it from start to finish. Like once you collect it, the best way to get it is in the fat wood. You find the fat wood and fallen trees and the root burls and things like that of old dead, trees that have fallen and rotten away. You look for the bits and pieces that are not rotten away, and those are going to be probably good saturated fat wood. Or like I said, you pull them out of already damaged limbs on trees, or places where it's dripping the sap out of the wound of the tree. Now let's go ahead and show you what this stuff looks like when you light it on fire. It immediately wants to take a flame from a lighter, and it will burn and boil and bubble, and like I said, it's a lot like napalm. So be real careful when you collecting and using evergreen resins, evergreen tree sap, pine pitch, pine tar. It's really flammable stuff, but it's very sticky and messy. We're going to put this out and move along. one's in some nice looking downy fluffy material to put in the bird's nest. We're going to go have a look at it, see if it ain't soaking wet, see if it ain't on private property. A number of things that makes it not good for us to mess with. And we'll have a look at it here. That's what we're looking at. Gonna go see if that's any kind of good fluff or not. So that's the bit we grabbed. We were started annoying the neighbor's dog, so we got one and got out of there pretty quick like. So that's the kind of downy, fluffy stuff that we're looking for. Might really help catch on in a nest of material. So we're gonna probably strip the stick out of this, even though it's good and dry. In fact, I might keep that stick just because it broke so easy that I bet it'll make good kindling. So we're gonna shuck that stick though, and we're gonna probably take this downy material here and strip it down off the stick and stow it in my pocket to help dry it out a little bit more, because it's pretty dry now, but I bet it could be a little bit drier. So here's that stuff, the fluff down. All I'm going to do is peel it off the stick here onto its own little shafts, tear that fluff down, help expose some of it to some more air and my body heat temperature, which will really help dry it out a little bit more, as long as you don't go sweating on it. And that'll be good fire kindling. Really help get the fire going. That's probably good enough for now. So then I just take this stuff here and I'm going to stick it in this side pocket right there. And hopefully, as I'm going about my business today looking for other stuff, that'll help dry that out a little bit more. This guy I'll stick in the saddlebag. Some of this finer stuff here that a lot of people like to call finger wood. This kind of stuff right here makes a great kindling. Get your fire, get it started once you got your nest lit. So we'll go around here and oh, look, a pile of ants. All kinds of ants. Well, all right, we'll leave them alone, actually. So this here's a cedar tree. And as you can see, this cedar tree's bark has been a bit worn. And it's similar to the fluffy, downy stuff that I took off of that tall grass. So we'll collect some of this here too, because that makes wonderful fire nesting. That's a great stuff. You can find that cedar bark like that. Don't hurt the tree, but take a little bit for your next fire, because that's good stuff. Right next to this lovely wildcraft looking greens garden, someone's got their leafies growing here. There's a wonderful bit of compost or reclaim right there. All the materials are out there somewhere for you to find, either in nature or right here in town. I'll collect some of this here finger wood and a piece or two branches, take home, and we get ourselves a little flint and steel fire started. Now, like I said, you never really gotta take anything alive. It's all already down, and the down stuff is drier and the dry stuff is better. So take the dead stuff. It's already here. So there's a little bit of finger wood that I got started, guys. I'm sure with a little bit of pine pitch that we grabbed and the fluffy bits that we grabbed, that'll be enough to get a fire started. Now, it won't be enough to feed or keep it going, but that's not really the point of today's video. If you're out there actually collecting wood, you need so much more than this. If this is your starting bundle of kindling, you're going to want 3 to 5 times this much wood. And then you're going to want another bundle that's probably, let's call it twice as big as your leg. Not the wood itself, but the pile of stuff that's about as big as your thumb to half as big as your wrist or so. And go up from there. But remember, you're going to want at least 2 good handfuls. What would take 2 good hands to wrap around to get it going there, guys. We'll set that aside. And again, jute twine, a couple fires worth of jute, but we ain't going to be using that today either. Now in Oregon, this is a must-have. This is a pocket bellows. Lets you blow air at the coals from a distance. If you're working with wet wood, wet tinders, Oregon is always damp, so this is a good idea to have if you're going to be trying to start a fire in adverse conditions. Or I love it for in the mornings. I wake up and I go back over to the fire pit. I brush off the dust and stuff and use this to find a hot coal that's still smoking. Throw some kindling on top of that coal and use this guy to inject some heat. Get the fire started again for the morning coffee or breakfast or what have you, just to warm up in the mornings out in the woods. Really handy fire device. I recommend everybody find one they like. Throw it in their kit. So, alright. Striker. Stone. Char cloth. Throw one in the bundle. I'm going to take this piece of char cloth. I'm going to fold it over to kind of give myself some more extra edges to try and catch the ember on. I'm going to put those edges towards the surface that I plan on striking with my striker. So it kind of looks like this. I got a little edge of that sticking out over past the stone, but not very much, just a little bit. I'm going to hold that roughly 45, 75, 80 degree angle, somewhere in here, so that when I bring the striker down, I'm going to shave a piece of steel off my striker with the stone. And it's going to shave off the striker. When it shaves off, it's going to be real hot. And hopefully it lands anywhere on this char cloth and it'll take it up. There we go. Maybe you can see glow on that ember. I don't know, but we got it started there. And we're going to throw that ember right in our little nesty space, right on top of another piece of char cloth. See, we got a fire now. That wasn't too tough, was it, guys? We're going to take that. Don't lose it now. And we're just going to get that up underneath the wood now. So, there we go. Got you a fire, folks. So, oftentimes, with touch wood, takes a little bit of mucking about, but it will light pretty easily. There's that. And, like I said, if you feel like you need it to keep it going for some reason or another, you can get a candle lit. Drip a little wax into the fire, helps it feed. Now I got my candle lit. I can set that aside in case this goes out. I can do what I never need to do to make sure we keep it going. Well, alrighty, boys and girls. That's flint and steel fire with wild gathered tinder materials and good old char cloth. As far as char material, that birch bark, you can char that. Punk wood works pretty darn good. You can char that. Any natural cotton you can char. Play around with it. You can char a lot of different things. I'm going to pick up my mess here and put my fire kit away. Alrighty guys, well, let's all pretend like our opinions matter and leave that shit in the comments below. See, we got a fire now. Wasn't too tough, was it, guys? Take that, I'll move it.